In 24 years, Councilman Williams, I'm sure there have been a lot of opportunities that you have had to make input. I don't know if we could talk about all of it,
Right.
but can you single out some things perhaps that you've shepherded, some ordinances, bills, the like?
Well, I often get asked the question, what was your most significant thing that you had done as a council member? And I would probably have to say, and I have to put it in a context so people understand why it was pretty significant. When I was elected to council, there were a number of individuals that were extremely supportive of me. They were the I'll call them mayors of the community. Finley Bramlett, who founded the Greater West Side Council of Block Clubs. Atha Walker, who was the Democratic chair for Ward 4. Mrs. Eaton, Mayor Eaton, who was on the other side of the expressway, kind of on Yukon, and was a leader in that community. And one of the things, the first thing they wanted me to do and to accomplish was to restore the old West Akron Y to a viable community center. Now going back, and I mentioned earlier that I grew up on Dover Avenue. Every kid back in those days, you kind of had a hangout where you went. A lot of kids, it was the Urban League, and I went to the Urban League some. But for me, the principal hangout place was the West Akron YMCA, which is on Lawton Street. And that's where I went to YMCA day camp and learned fishing and archery. And we used to take us swimming, and we went horseback riding, and there were Saturday movies there at the Y. And you went there after school. They sold candy and stuff, and it was a place to come play caroms, and for the young people, that's like pool, but they're little round discs, same kind of principle.
Okay.
And it was a central place where kids could go. It was safe. There was supervision there, and it was just an important part of the community. It was right across the street from Schumacher, and the city used to have recreation programs that took place at the school. So there was always activity and things going on there. The Y closed. It was closed for many years. Mount Olive Baptist Church purchased the building, tried to rehab it, but they really didn't have the resources to do it. They put money in, but weren't able to really turn it around. So I had the city purchase the building from the church, and then we invested $2 million into it, rehabbed the facility, and returned it as a useful part of the community. Opened it with a computer center, and the seniors were in there on the computers, and once again kids were there in the building and learning and growing and using the gymnasium and all of that. So that was very important to me. One, because it was a key place for me as a young child, and having the opportunity to restore that community has a personal meaning to me. But additionally, this is what the neighborhood leadership wanted. This was the top thing on their agenda. And I think it's extremely important that people in the community set an agenda for their community, and that the city government responds to that agenda. Probably one of the key things I did as chairman of Budget and Finance Committee was shepherding the stadium project through council, and there was opposition to the stadium, and I had, along with other council members and Mayor Plusquellic at the time, we had gone and looked at a number of different stadiums and had pretty much looked at some of the mistakes that were made at some of these other places, and fashioned a stadium that would meet our needs. It was very clear to me that it was important that it was in downtown. The stadium itself is not a moneymaker, but the development and things that could take place around it, that's the really impact of a stadium. And we went to a number of communities, I think it was Richmond, Virginia, if I remember right. Beautiful stadium, sitting out in the middle of nowhere. No opportunity for other economic development or anything else to take place with that. So it was extremely important that it was downtown. And with my leadership on council, we got it through, and it has turned out to be a key component in the downtown rejuvenation.
Now, let me interject this here. You and the mayor used to be allies years ago. There was harmony in the camp.
Yeah.
What happened? Can you put that in the capsule?
Well, let me tell you, and I tell you how my relationship with the mayor really ties into my basic philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
When I came on the council, the first thing the majority of council at the time came to me and said, "Well, you know, you're new. We want you to just sit here and be quiet, and you know, we'll learn and we'll kind of run the show." I promptly informed them that I was elected by the citizens of Ward 4 to represent them. I'm qualified to do the job. I'm as qualified as any of you to do this job. I prepared for it, and I am not going to be quiet, and I'm going to exercise my right to speak and speak on behalf of my residents. The first feedback, because Don Plusquellic had just been elected mayor. He was elected the same time that I was elected to council. He was appointed earlier and then was actually elected, so we both were elected at the same election. First feedback I get out of the mayor's office from Don is, and quote, you know, Mike Williams isn't going to walk around in $500 suits while his wife works in my law department. And my wife at the time was a member of the Akron Law Department. She was brought in by Harold Stubbs, and as well was the law director, and she was working in the department. Well, my wife certainly took the cue on that. She left the law department, and but that's how we started. But again, I still leave the door open. And as we worked together, worked on different things, we formed a close relationship. We had a council leadership which met regularly. I was part of that leadership team, and that was the chairman of the key committees. And we worked together to resolve problems and issues that facing the city. Mm-hmm. We worked together on the JEDs. We worked together on community learning centers. We worked together on all these major initiatives that have been accomplished. And unfortunately, one of the things that has come out in this campaign is this whole premise that Don Plusquellic has done all these things by himself. He hasn't. It's been a team of individuals that have contributed to that, and where that team has worked together, there's been some very successful things. Where Don Plusquellic has worked on his own, say for example the project to sell or lease the sewer, the scholarship program, those things failed. And frankly, I disagreed with the mayor on the sale or lease of the sewer system. And the scholarship program was faulty in terms of how it was put together. I think that's a good idea. I think that's something we should look at and figure out a way to do. But the way he had it structured, it was set to fail. So
you're not saying that there's any one particular thing that it started and it just continued to grow because of
it went very
adversity?
well for a long time. And then when I had disagreements, and this is a common theme with our current mayor, if you have a disagreement with him, you take a different position, then you get put on the enemies list. So, and I don't remember specifically. I look back when the mayor was had heart surgery. My wife and we went to visit him in the hospital. Up until his last re-election swearing-in ceremony, A. Williams has sworn him in, either my father, Judge Williams, or my wife, Annalisa Williams. So there was a very close relationship, and we worked very closely together on a number of different projects. and you know, and I remain open to conversation and dialogue, but I have my own thoughts, my own voice, and I listen to residents, and clearly there was not the support there to sell or lease the sewer system, and I took a position opposing him on that.